Okay, so I'm going to go through the Brocade Technologies presentation. This could be used for a customer-facing presentation. I start out by going through, or the presentation begins with a overview of the general recommendations as to why Brocade, a little bit about our company, where we play in terms of solutions, why in general we win. But I'm going to just dive right into more focused uh, product overviews, starting with the campus, our campus solutions. It's really your option how you want to lead with our products. We have campus IP solutions and also data center switching solutions. And based on the opportunity or customer, you might want to lead with the data center. I start here in the campus, really because I think, throughout the industry, if anywhere is being commoditized the quickest, it's in campus switching, and customers who have been really used to, a specific vendor of choice. If there's anywhere where even a very rigid customer could consider making a change, the campus is the place where that happens very often, and it really because of the commoditization of the campus, and also because of the familiarity of our CLI. It's very similar to the industry leader in networking, their CLI, and the other reasons where we differentiate in the campus, and I've highlighted them here on this slide, is our stacking solution. So we have industry-leading stacking in terms of stacking depth. We can stack up to 12 switches on the platforms I'm going to cover. We use standard ports for stacking, not any proprietary dedicated stacking ports. All of our ports that are used for stacking could also be used for data, and that allows a lot of flexibility for the customer and how they deploy the stack. Again, the industry standard CLI is another reason customers are enabled to make a change away from their traditional vendor. It's a very low cost of change, so they can get the value of our solution without much pain. Our 40 gig story is very strong. We support 40 gig on the ICX 7750 and ICX 7450 platform. And if you combine those two in the campus, you can get a 40 gig backbone for essentially the price of 10 gig. And then, of course, we have the Brocade Assurance Warranty, which covers hardware for the lifetime of the product. So let's take a look at the portfolio. Starting at the edge or the access layer of the campus, the ICX 7450 is the product we would lead with here. We also have the ICX 7250, which is going to be a more entry-level, non-redundant, but fully capable access switch. We have a compact switch, which provides 12 ports and PoE capability in a very small form factor that's fanless, and it works well in conference rooms or environments where you need some ports, but you don't need a really large switch, and you don't want it to make a lot of noise. The ICX compact switch can also be powered by PoE using PoE pass-through, and still have enough power to power an access point. For the aggregation and core area of the network, the product we would lead with typically is the ICX 7750. This is another stackable solution. It provides 10 gig and 40 gig port densities in either a SFP plus or copper for 10 gig, and then QSFP ports for 40 gig. The ICX 7750 is pretty awesome because the density in this 1RU platform, and it's combined with its stacking capabilities, make it a really nice fit for taking out large chassis that are aging in customers' infrastructure today, whether those are Cisco 6500s or other modular platforms. We can replace and enhance that area of the network with maybe 2 or 3 ICX 7750s configured in the stack. All of these switches support layer 3 functionality. We can do OSPF and we can do BGP. Not full BGP internet scale routing tables, but we can do BGP, such as on the ICX 7750, which could also be used in a data center deployment if they're running BGP in the data center. Let's take a look a little bit closer at the ICX 7250. So this is our entry-level stackable, and it delivers the highest 10 gig scalability and a lot of good functionality that makes it future-proof. So if we look at the picture, the ports in yellow would be module 1, and it would provide 24 or 48 ports that can be PoE capable if you order the PoE SKU. And then in green, highlighted in green, are 8 SFP plus ports that you can order either with 0 enabled, 2 of those ports enabled for 10 gig, or all 8 of them enabled for 10 gig. If you don't have a 10 gig license on the switch, those ports can still support 1 gig speeds right out of the box. Looking at the bottom left picture, you see a stacking kind of configuration where we're using those 4 of those SFP plus ports in the front of the unit to form a high density 40 gig stacking channel. And this is flexible because these ports can be used in various combinations for either data or stacking. In this case, they have 2 ports in each direction of the stack, upstream and downstream, that have combined to form a single lag or port channel, providing 20 gigs in both directions, or 40 gigs total of stacking bandwidth. Again, these can be used for data ports or stacking ports, and combined in sort of any type of configuration that works best for the customer's environment. Finally, there's a external power shelf that we offer that can provide redundant power, because again, the 7250 being our entry-level switch only has an internal power supply. If you want redundant power, or you want to do full PoE plus across all the ports, you would want to get an external power shelf. This external power shelf can power up to 16, provide redundant power for up to 16 of these ICX 7250s. So it's an option for customers who want that power redundancy or increased PoE budget. On the right, you see some of the features that come with these switches, some of which I covered or mentioned, others which are there for your reference. The ICX 7450 is what we'll say is our mid-range stackable. It's the stackable device that we like to lead with when we're talking about access layer solutions. The reason it's a great solution and one that we lead with is because of its flexibility and because of its field serviceability or redundancy. So if you look at the picture on the right, top right, you can see that there are redundant power supplies and fan modules that are fully hot swappable. And they can, if you have a PoE switch, a PoE capable 7450 model, a single 1000 watt power supply can provide PoE plus across all ports. We reserve 250 watts for system power and 750 watts per power supply for PoE budget. So if you have 2,000 watt power supplies inserted, you have a total PoE budget, 750 times 2, of 1,500 watts. Looking at the picture in the middle, if you look at the ports that are highlighted in yellow, these are unique because they support POHD, or power over HD. This is going to offer up to 95 watts per ports for those first 8 ports, and the rest could support still PoE or PoE plus, depending on your budget. So now the flexibility I mentioned really comes down to the 3 hardware expansion modules that this platform offers. You see that there's one in the front. So if you look at the middle picture in the front, highlighted in green on the right is one of our expansion module slots. Inserted in this picture is a 4x10 gig fiber SFP plus based expansion module. But we also support a 40 gig module, a 10 gig copper, 10 gig base T module, and a 1 gig SFP module. So the 40 gig module is actually shown in the bottom picture, which is a picture of the switch from the rear. And you can see that those 2 expansion slots in this picture are populated with a 40 gig card. So typically what we would see is in a campus environment, customers want to stack these switches. And they can, again, our flexible stacking allows them to use either 10 gig or 40 gig for stacking. Typically, we would recommend that you use 2 40 gig ports in the back to provide a redundant stack topology and stack connections to other devices in the stack. And then you can use your 4x10 gig expansion module in the front of the device for your uplinks to higher layer devices in your network. Again, we support the industry leading stack depth up to 12 units per stack and with 80 gig stacking bandwidth. We have full layer 3 support, including BGP, VRF, OSPF. There are licenses that would be required for this advanced routing functionality, but the good thing is that it's a licensed model where you can turn these features on, and then we will trust you, Brocade will trust that you will go on and get a license wherever you're using these features, but we're not going to lock it down until you have a license on the 7450 or 7750 platform. So that makes it a little bit easier to start to use this functionality and license it later. So this is a chart of the modules that I mentioned we support on the 7450 for your reference. So now we're moving upstream into the core or aggregation layer or distribution layer of the campus, whatever you want to call it. It's the solution we lead with here is the ICX 7750, and you can see that it's a highly dense 10 gig, 40 gig platform that has different form factors. So it's always going to be 1RU, but you can have a 48. The 48F model provides 48 ports of SFP plus and supporting 10 gig, and up to 12 ports of QSFP plus ports supporting 40 gig. The units will ship with at least 6 ports of 40 gig, and then there's an additional expansion module in the back where you can insert an additional 6 ports for 40 gig. Moving over to the right, the ICX 7750 48C provides 48 ports of 10 gig copper and up to 12 ports of 40 gig QSFP plus. Again, 6 ports ship with the unit for 40 gig, and there's an expansion module on the back that can support an additional 6 more. The ICX 7750 26Q provides 26 ports of 40 gig and a QSFP plus form factor. You could get up to 32 ports of 40 gig with that optional expansion module inserted in the back. And then you see on the bottom picture, bottom left, it shows the rear-facing view of the ICX 7750. You see the fully redundant power supplies and fans. You see the slot for the 40 gig expansion module. And again, stacks up to 12 units and really is meant to replace chassis in the campus. We support long distance stacking on the 7750. And with this, you can kind of enable a distributed chassis architecture where you have 7750s in different MDFs in your on different floors or in different buildings, and you can connect them over 40 gig with a long distance or with a fiber optic cable and optic or transceiver. And you can kind of manage your entire aggregation layer of your campus from a single point of management, right? As it is would be in a stack. So this is makes it competitive to having a large chassis at this layer of the network. We see a lot of traction with wireless vendors, or we really have been able to position ourselves as a best of breed wired underlay for wireless networks. And we have been certified by Tali for third-party integration with all of these industry-leading wireless providers. That's the campus portion. I'm going to take a break here and come back to cover the data center solutions.